You've watched an animal go quiet before. A dog that suddenly stops playing. A bird that disappears from the balcony it visits every morning. A stray you see every day. And then one day, you don't. You don't think much of it. Life moves, animals come and go. But what if that silence isn't random? What if, in their final hours, they already know and choose to step away? Imagine this. You're sitting with a pet you've known for years. It's slower today. It eats less. It looks at you, longer than usual. Not in pain, not in panic. Just aware. You feel it, but you can't explain it. Something has shifted. Then, later it moves to a corner, or under a bed, or outside, to a place you rarely see it go. Quiet, alone. And you're left wondering, why? Why do so many animals withdraw just before they die? Why do they choose distance over comfort? It feels emotional, almost human. But underneath that moment, something deeper is happening. Not a decision in the way you think of decisions. A pattern, a biological signal, a quiet instinct older than memory. And once you see it, you start noticing it everywhere. In recent years, projects like the Dog Aging Project, led by researchers at institutions including the University of Washington, have mapped how dogs change as they move through late life. They've found that older dogs often shift into low-energy, low-stimulation routines, spending more time resting, withdrawing from intense play, and seeking calm spaces, especially as health declines. Not because they stop loving their owners, but because their internal systems are changing. Energy drops, sensitivity to stress rises, and the body begins conserving what little remains. The conclusion is simple, but unsettling. Withdrawal isn't rejection, it's regulation, but it goes deeper. In African elephants, biologist Joyce Poole and other field researchers in Kenya's Amboseli National Park have documented how elephants react around death. Elephants are often seen revisiting bones, standing quietly over skulls and tusks, touching them with trunks and feet, as if drawn back to sites of loss. The old myth of elephant graveyards is not supported. There is no one secret cemetery where they all go to die. But what is real is that aging or weakened elephants sometimes drift to quieter, safer areas at the edges of their range, reducing travel and social strain as their bodies fail. Here's where it gets stranger. In 2015, entomologist David Hughes and his team at Penn State described how the parasitic fungus Ophiocordyceps turns tropical carpenter ants into zombie ants. Once infected, the ants leave the safety of their colony, climb vegetation, and clamp down in a precise position before the fungus kills them and sprouts from their bodies. In that case, the parasite is in control, but it reveals something important. Even simple organisms can execute highly specific end-of-life behaviors when their internal chemistry changes. The uncomfortable part is this. Even without parasites, many animals retreat or hide as they grow sick or near death. Veterinarians and behaviorists often describe cats as masters of hiding symptoms, noting that ill or dying cats frequently seek out enclosed hidden places, closets, underbeds, behind furniture, especially when they feel vulnerable. Reviews of hospitalized cats in veterinary journals show that providing hiding boxes reduces visible stress, suggesting that concealment is a core coping strategy in felines. In the wild, a visible, weakened animal is an invitation to predators. So instead of staying in the open, they vanish. Not dramatically, just quietly. And then there are marine animals. In 2022, researchers from the University of Chicago, the University of Washington, and the University of Illinois Chicago showed that female octopuses enter a kind of programmed self-destruct after reproduction. Changes in the optic gland, a hormonal control center, shift cholesterol metabolism and steroid hormones, triggering fasting, self-injury, and rapid decline until death. When this gland's function is altered experimentally, that death spiral can be interrupted. The octopus doesn't decide to die. Its body tells it to. Across these very different species, one clear pattern emerges. As death nears, the body changes first, and behavior follows. So what is actually happening? It's not foresight in the human sense. Animals are not sitting there thinking, I am about to die. But they are detecting something real. Internal signals, pain, fatigue, inflammation, hormonal shifts begin to alter behavior in specific, predictable ways. Energy becomes precious. Noise and contact become overwhelming. Vulnerability becomes dangerous. So the system adapts. Withdraw, hide, reduce movement, minimize exposure. Not because they want to leave others. Not because they understand death the way you do, but because their biology is steering them toward survival strategies, even when survival is no longer possible in the long run. And this is where it touches you, because you also have signals. You also feel shifts, subtle ones, fatigue that lingers, a sudden need for quiet, instincts that pull you toward or away from certain places, certain people. Most of the time, you override them. You stay visible, you stay busy, you stay connected. Animals don't. They listen, not consciously, not philosophically, but consistently. What this means for you is not that animals know death in a mystical way. It's something quieter, and in some ways, more profound. They trust the signals of their own bodies more completely than you do. It's not awareness as you define it, it's alignment. So think back to that moment. The animal that disappeared, the pet that grew quiet, the one that moved away without warning. Maybe it wasn't confusion, maybe it wasn't fear, maybe it was something precise, something ancient, a body recognizing its own limits and responding the only way it knows how. And you, standing there, watching it happen without understanding why. Now you do. Not because they were leaving you, not because they stopped caring, but because in their final moments they were following a language older than thought, a language that does not speak in words, only in silence.